Sup, you beautiful bastards. Hope you're having a fantastic Thursday. Welcome back to the Philip DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing I want to talk about today is actually a story about a person I used to include in my thumbnails as clickbait. Kate Upton was in the news. You may have seen on January 31st, Kate Upton alluded to fashion brand Guess's co-founder Paul Marciano assaulting her. She tweeted out, "It's disappointing that such an iconic women's brand Guess is still empowering Paul Marciano as their creative director, #MeToo." Also posting an image of her tweet on her Instagram with the caption, "He shouldn't be allowed to use his power in the industry to sexually and emotionally harass women, #MeToo." Now, Upton didn't immediately elaborate on what happened, but her statement had an immediate effect on the fashion brand. Within hours of her initial tweet, Guess's shares dropped by more than 17%. Now, obviously, keep in mind this happened during that dip in the stock market, but 17% is a whole lot more than 4%. Marciano has responded to Upton's post, giving TMZ a one-page statement saying he never touched Upton or was alone with her, and that he has built a brand with a, quote, long and proud history of empowering women. Also noting Upton's timing here, saying she leveled this malicious and false accusation only hours before a gala event at our headquarters in Los Angeles unveiling a new Guess campaign. Also saying he felt Upton's statements provided no facts, no details, no dates, and no circumstances to corroborate her allegations. So then yesterday, Upton provides details, dates, circumstances, and witnesses in a Time article. Upton says that on the first day of her lingerie shoot with Guess, Marciano forcibly grabbed her breasts. He kissed her against her will. He grabbed her thighs and arms to pull her closer so he could smell her. He also allegedly told photographer Yu Tsai to leave the room so he could be alone with Upton. Tsai has also corroborated Upton's story. Following that, she said, "Then Paul insisted that he walk me up to my hotel room. I immediately declined. The only thing I was thinking is, if he touches me like that in public, I can't imagine what he'd try to do in private. Thankfully, Yu Tsai stepped in and insisted he do it. I was so relieved and I felt like I had barely escaped." And following all of this, Kate said the harassment and assault made her reconsider her career, saying, "It took a huge toll on my confidence and self-worth. I wanted to quit modeling. I constantly blamed myself after it happened. What am I doing to invite someone to treat me like that or grab me like that? I wondered if it was how I was presenting myself or what I was wearing. I started slumping my shoulders to hide my breast size, wearing baggy clothes, started despising my own body." But then calling on the industry to change, saying the culture of complacency and tolerance in our industry needs to stop. People know what is going on and have previously accepted it, and we can't always require the victims to be the ones to speak up and tell their story because the victims only know their one story. And as far as where we are now, before Upton's Time interview, Guess said that they would launch an investigation if she provided concerns that were determined to have merit, and so most likely what we're about to see is an investigation. Then let's talk about the failing New York Times. The New York Times, who you may have heard are failing. I don't know if you've heard about this, people are saying it. Well, the company came out with an announcement today, and it really shows the big shift in news media. The company announced today that in 2017, they brought in $1.7 billion, and that's also a big deal for a few reasons. One, as a total, that is an 8% increase from 2016. Two, a huge part of this is due to a surge in the number of people subscribing to their digital-only content. And three, thanks to an increase in digital advertising. Subscriptions now reportedly account for 60% of their revenue. Just in the last quarter, 157,000 digital-only subscriptions were added. But also, if there's something that kind of brings this story back down to earth, let's talk about profit, because reportedly operating profit dropped from $56 million for the quarter to $23 million. This, they say, reportedly due to pension settlement charges and higher operating costs. As well as just on the print side, a lot of their numbers dropped. But really, all this story shows is what most millennials and younger know, and that is the future is digital. Also, in this current climate, people care about news more than ever. I used to joke about it in the past, but one of the biggest things to come from the Trump administration and the election in general is that people care about news 7 days a week. It used to die over the weekend. And for me, the only question is, do we get to a point where print media in general dies out and it goes all digital, or will there be holdouts? Does reading an actual physical copy of a newspaper become a gimmick in the future? I don't know, but it'll be very interesting to see. Then let's talk about this situation with Holocaust denier and Republican candidate Arthur Jones. Now, before you just take that headline, you start saying, "See, all the Republicans are Nazis," this situation's a little complicated. Yes, we do have 70-year-old retired insurance agent and Holocaust denier Arthur. It's just really quick. That description escalates very quickly. It's like we're talking about Arthur Jones, who of course loves bubblegum and is the former leader of the American Nazi Party. Also, that last thing's true. He's the former leader of the American Nazi Party. I don't know about the bubblegum, but who doesn't like bubblegum? But that said, this same guy is running as a Republican for this midterm election in Illinois. Some of Arthur Jones's greatest hits include a section on his website with a flyer titled "The Holocaust Racket," saying there is no proof such a so-called Holocaust ever took place anywhere in Europe against the Jews. Millions of dollars are made each year by the Jews telling this tall tale of woe and misfortune. Also for Jones, the Confederate flag doesn't seem to be just about, a heritage and culture and something that is not racist or horrible, but, quote, "This flag represents to millions of white Americans a symbol of white pride and white resistance. It is the flag of a white counter-revolution." Also this month, when talking to the Chicago Sun-Times, he gave props to Hitler for his economic policies.
Economic policies of Hitler brought that nation up from the very bottom. In 12 years of his rule, they went from the age of the biplane to the age of the rocket.
In an interview the following day, he says he doesn't support interracial marriages, the integration of schools, and there's more and more we could include here, but you get the point. So the question for many, of course, is how the hell did this guy become the Republican candidate? Well, it's because he's running in a district where Democrats have a lock on the seat. Democrats have won the seat every election since 1975. The last time a Republican ran, which was back in 2014, the Democrat won 64% to 35%. So essentially what happened is that a Republican was not going to run, and then Arthur Jones just said, yeah, I'll do it. And Jones actually tried to do this back in 2016, but the Illinois Election Board kept Jones off the ballot for not collecting enough valid signatures. This after the state Republican Party brought legal action against Jones. Now this year, the General Counsel for the Illinois Republican Party reviewed Jones's petition and determined that the signatures were legitimate, and so Jones could not be kept off the ballot. But it is important to note, the Republican Party is not endorsing this guy. You also can't connect him to Donald Trump because he is not a fan of Donald Trump. In a speech last spring at a National Socialist Movement gathering, Jones stated that he regretted voting for Donald Trump. Or in his words,
and we were fortunate to send this naive, Jew-loving fool into the White House.
And once again, the Republican Party wants nothing to do with him. And so I just wanted to cover this story for a few reasons. The first, I saw a lot of misinformation saying this guy is representative of Republicans in general. No. Republicans have denounced and pointed out he has no real connection to the GOP. He's been running for a while. He's just looking for any way in, which is why, too, at least from a PR standpoint, it might make sense for the parties to, even in districts where it looks like they have zero chance whatsoever, just put up like a pizza boy, you know, just so Monster McHatesALot doesn't get voted in as your candidate, and then you have that attachment. And finally, 3, this is just a reminder that there are horrible, hateful people out there. I know we end up covering a lot of stories where it seems like PC has gone wild and it's ridiculous, but there are also people just filled with bigotry. And it's important to remember that because a spotlight on the horrible is the best way to disinfect it. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome, brought to you by Postmates. Postmates, of course, a fantastic delivery on-demand app. You want something from the store, you want something from your favorite restaurant, open up the app, boom, you get it delivered to your house, your work, your wherever. Maybe you're in the middle of having company over, you need some more drinks, but you also want to be safe because maybe you had some drinks, boom, order it via the app. And most awesomely, if you are a new customer, go to postdefranco.com, download the app, use offer code PhillyD in the app, and they will give you $100 in free delivery credit. If you want to try it out, link to that down below. And the first bit of awesome today is we got a teaser for Venom, and I'm saying awesome because I'm excited about the movie. There's some people angry because you don't actually see Venom. But come on, it's a teaser. Let's see the beautiful and fantastic Tom Hardy. Just enjoy him while you can. Also, I would figure that some people would be kind of pumped about this kind of teaser trailer because there's a big criticism that trailers show too much these days. But whatever, I'm excited. Then we got this really interesting video from Seeker about squishy batteries, explaining how they work. Then we had Life Noggin covering how long will our monuments last. Then we got a featurette on Altered Carbon, which is that new Netflix series, which I will say I'm 2 episodes in right now. I'm kind of digging it. I find it very weird that my favorite character so far is a hotel, but I'm digging it so far. Then we got Rich Brian on an episode of Hot Ones. And if you want to see the full versions of everything, I just shared the secret link of the day, anything at all. Links, as always, are in the description down below. Then, very quickly, let's talk about YouTube and Logan Paul, who you may just be sick of seeing his face, which actually is part of the story. So, of course, after massive controversy, fallout, Logan Paul has done his redemption tour, he's posting videos again. But something that happened around that is when Logan Paul returned, a lot of people got a notification saying, hey, Logan Paul's back. But the thing that made a lot of people angry is a lot of people who are not subscribed to Logan Paul got that message. One of the tweets that blew up around this came from Rachel Monday, who tweeted, "Are you kidding me, YouTube? I'm having a hard time receiving accurate notifications from my actual subscribed channels, and this crap pops up? I've never once clicked a video of his, at least try to hide the favoritism." And then YouTube's official account responds, "Our bad, we fixed it so that only Logan subscribers will get it going forward. Apologies for the spam." So the question becomes, why did it happen? Was it a bug or was it a setting? And the reason I say setting is part of this seems to be a built-in system. YouTube's quick response of, "Oh, fixed it, it was just supposed to go to these people." That makes me think setting because YouTube's a massive website. Whenever they have to do a fix, it is a massive undertaking. And the fact that they were saying that it was supposed to target a specific group of people that subscribe to Logan Paul, if they have that ability to push through recommendations like that, did they maybe accidentally do it to everyone that had tags for Logan Paul? The idea being that if this system exists in this way and they were trying to help Logan Paul, that the algorithm would just go, oh, this person watched a bunch of Logan Paul videos, not considering that maybe you watched a video of like, oh my god, I can't believe Logan Paul did this, what a scumbag. oh look, he was really offensive here. And based off of a tag push, YouTube's like, oh, they love Logan Paul, they're gonna love his new video. Something that may not be the biggest deal if it's just something on your homepage, but when you're getting a notification for it, it's a little more aggressive. That could potentially explain it, or it may have been a bug. And the tags might be where there's a lot of overlap, because not only does Logan Paul use his own tags in any video that was even remotely talking about this incident, they use many of the same tags, but no matter the explanation, I understand why people are frustrated, especially when YouTubers have to deal with other issues. But then there is the subject of YouTube favoritism, and really we're only going to be able to tell based off of their actions moving forward. Obviously it's hard for many to not see this recommended move as a coordinated effort between Paul and YouTube. There have also been murmurs in the community that Logan Paul's project that was put on hold was only kind of wink wink put on hold and still may get a release. This despite their more extreme treatment of other YouTubers who have had scandals in the past. But like with a lot of the stories, we have to wait and see. It's one thing to say something, it's a whole other to do it. Then let's talk about two New York lawmakers taking on the biggest problem in this country right now, Russia. Wait, actually I misread that. I meant Tide Pods. Oh, the world's so stupid. So if you don't know about this stupid, there was a meme called the Tide Pod Challenge. It wasn't really a thing. People joked about eating Tide Pods, and then a bunch of really stupid people were like, oh, I guess I'll do that because views. More and more children have seen it. There have been instances, there have been more calls to poison control centers. Apparently became such a big issue, Tide had to release a commercial with Rob Gronkowski, and they were like, don't eat it. Pretty simple. People have joked about drinking bleach for a very long time. Usually not that big of a deal, but unfortunately there's just too much stupid in this world, and so this has continued to be an issue. And that's why this week we saw New York Assemblywoman Aravella Simitas and State Senator Brad Hoylman propose a bill calling for stronger safety regulation for liquid detergent packets. The two also sending a letter to Tide owner Procter & Gamble asking them to remove their products from stores and implement changes along the lines of their bill, writing we carry legislation to prevent poisonings and injuries by requiring child-resistant packaging and individual wrapping for each detergent pod, stating, warning, harmful if put in mouth or swallowed, eye irritant, keep out of reach of children. Adding, our legislation also aims to make pods less visually appealing to children, teens, and adults with dementia by requiring manufacturers to change the design of laundry detergent packets to a uniform color. Also calling for them to use a stronger bittering agent to prevent ingestion, reduce their pleasant smell, and make them feel more firm. Closing, it's time that you recognize the danger to those least able to protect themselves from a poisonous product packaged like candy. If not, these products should be removed from store shelves as soon as possible. And in response to all of this, Procter & Gamble issued a statement saying there was nothing new in these legislative proposals. They also said they already make the packaging child resistant, that they found from a review of data from the Poison Control Center that color does not play a critical role in a child's accidental exposure to laundry packs. As for individual wrapping, the company says it believes doing so would not be helpful in reducing incidents and may have unintended consequences. And closing, finally, consumers have a choice. Those who prefer a single colored pack can use Tide Free and Gentle, which is all white. Tide is also available in a liquid and powder product form. And my response to this is I find the pushing for this legislation to be so incredibly stupid and not needed. They've somehow tried to make Tide Pods themselves the villain here. It's in childproof packaging that has warnings on it. The most we've seen of people actually chewing on these things are from people desperate for views. And if you actually watch those videos, those mouth breathers have to really go at it to open up the Tide Pod when it explodes. The bittering agent seems good enough where they're like, ugh. Here's a fact I learned very early on in my life. It is 100% impossible to completely stop stupid. Right? Like every 4th of July, it's pretty much an understood that it would be a bad thing to put a bottle rocket in your asshole. The rocket itself involves fire and explosion. There's warning on the packaging and on the individual, but it still happens. Someone will always try and do it, and then every July 5th, I'm talking about some guy that blew a ball off. The majority will be fine, but stupid always finds a way. But that's where I'm gonna end that one. And actually, the last thing I do want to talk about today is Russia. I know that I was joking before, but Russian meddling. And I know meddling's kind of this vague word. Some people just attribute it to just manipulating votes, but overall, it's been used in reference to that, hacking parties and releasing data, just public perception in general, a la fake news and bots. And a lot of those forms of meddling have been confirmed by multiple intelligence agencies. Voter registration rolls were accessed, DNC servers were accessed. You see thousands of fake accounts and bots pushing so much fake news out there that have connections to Russia. That said, those same intelligence agencies also say that no votes were manipulated. So the voting in the election was the voting in the election. And I feel like that's one of the places there's a disconnect with some people, that when they hear meddling, they think just pure vote manipulation. It could involve that in the future, but it's so much more. Now, a big part of why this is a story, of course, is the 2016 election, but we're moving forward to the 2018 midterms. And this still looks looks like it's going to be a big issue. A little more than a week ago, head of the CIA, Mike Pompeo, warned that the Russians will try to meddle again. When asked by the BBC if he expected the Russians to mess with our election, Pompeo said, "I have every expectation that they will continue to try and do that." But also adding, "But I am confident that America will be able to have a free and fair election, that will push back in a way that is sufficiently robust that the impact they have on our election won't be great." We also saw former President George W. Bush speak out on Russian meddling.
Pretty clear evidence that the Russians meddled. Whether they affected the outcome is another question. I'll remind you, however, that during the Cold War, they did the same thing.
Now, to that, I would say, yes, it is good to hear from a former president, someone that's been in that position, saying, yes, they meddled, but George W. Bush probably not the best messenger. Not a guy that I would normally connect with words like truth and accurate. Also, a side note, the George W. Bush rehabilitation thing that's been going on, so strange to me. I know people that years ago were saying George W. Bush is a war criminal, and now they're like, see, he's speaking the truth. Good guy, George. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. But a voice that could speak on the matter in a better manner. Rex Tillerson, our Secretary of State, who was in Bogota yesterday, said, "I don't know that I would say we are better prepared because the Russians will adapt as well. The point is, if it's their intention to interfere, they are going to find ways to do that. We can take steps we can take, but this is something that once they decide they're going to do it, it's very difficult to preempt it. I think it's important we just continue to say, Russia, look, you think we don't see what you're doing. We do see it and you need to stop. If you don't, you're going to just continue to invite consequences for yourself." And while I will say it's great that our Secretary of State is saying it, it also appears there's a disconnect between him and Trump. Whether it be his tweets, seemingly mainly focus on collusion, which that's not what I'm talking about here when I'm saying Russian meddling. Or in the Trump administration not really following through on the sanctions involving Russia. We talked about this on a previous show, but they essentially argued we don't need to implement the sanctions because the sanctions themselves deter people. So if there's really no follow through, we're getting a lot of bark from Rex Tillerson, but he has no teeth. But ultimately, we're gonna have to wait and see. And that's actually where I'm gonna end today's show. And of course, this is the Philip DeFranco Show. I give you the news, sometimes my opinion, and then I wanna hear from you in those comments down below. But remember, if you like this video, you like what I'm trying to do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. That way you make sure you don't miss these daily videos, which actually, if you did miss yesterday's show, you wanna catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you're in the mood for something lighter, you can click right there to watch the newest behind the scenes vlog. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.